And welcome back to another episode of another photography podcast. Another photography podcast about photography that we're podcasting about.
I like your intro. Nice one.
Yeah, dude, I'm dumb. But yeah, man.
Yeah, so we were just talking about having like a backup camera.
Yeah, so I'm curious. Okay, so you have two R6s and you're thinking about getting another backup something?
Yeah, so for like a few months ago, I was like, I should probably have a third one just in case like caught in a rain shower, something goes, one of the cameras go down, both of the cameras go down if the rain's really bad, something like that, just to have in the car something waiting.
It's got to be a killer rain shower.
Whip out.
Because I've shot in a hurricane. Yeah,
so part of the reason that started me thinking about this was, again, watching Two Man Metanoia.
Okay.
In fact, was it even Metanoia? It might have been one of their free workshops a while ago. And they were like, we got this picture here. It won them a Fearless Award, but they lost 3 cameras that day.
What?
And they shoot Sony, to be fair, so maybe just the Sony weather sealing wasn't... Oh, wait, no. It might have been back in
Hold up a minute.
It might have been back in their Canon days, actually.
How did they lose 3 cameras?
Well, they have 2 each. And they were in like a torrential downpour. Well, they have extra backups.
How many extra?
At least 2, I think. They've got
they have 2 each.
And then
they
at least have
another 2.
They at least have 1 backup each.
Because I've done 2 cameras, and then I've had a third probably for 8 years, give or take. But I took that third when I trained a friend of mine and got him started in his photography career, and he still has my R.
Yeah. So I mean, technically, I have the Leica Q that I could use as a backup.
Oh yeah, you could. Yeah.
And that was my initial idea, but
I saw you're selling it.
I don't like it.
Oh word.
So if I'm like, I was like, if I'm gonna have a backup, I can have a camera that I'll use in daily life and carry around, and I can also just have a professional backup.
Yeah.
It can work for a wedding if I need it to. But it will interrupt the workflow enough that I'm not confident what the dynamic range or anything is, or at least I know the R6. So I almost was like, I'll just get a third R6.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, maybe I should get a cheaper camera that is small that I would more likely travel with or carry. So maybe I'll get the R8. And then I'm like, well, you know what? It doesn't have the same controls as the R6, and then I probably won't like it as much.
Because that one's crop sensor?
I think the R8's the full frame one.
Oh, for real?
No. Is it the R7? One of the cheaper ones.
Is the replacement to the RP.
Yeah, whatever one that. I think like that. Is there not like an R9 and 10?
I feel like there's definitely an R10 and a 7. I don't know about an R9.
Maybe the 7's the full frame. Whatever the cheaper
full frame
one was.
Yeah.
Which it's just like 1 card slot or whatever, and I think it would be just fine.
I still say the RP is like one of the most underrated cameras right now in terms of people starting out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely for dipping your toes in it.
Yeah, it has the same. I think it has the same sensor as the D6 had.
Nice.
Which I guess for some people had limited colors and all that whatnot. But it's like I had one kid buy one. He was young at the time when he bought it, and he just went out, started doing some like his pictures of his hometown, which is a little beach town, and I was just jaw on the floor, like this kid's creativity is unlocked, and I'm like, and he was doing it with his RP.
Nice.
I'm like, dude, super underrated camera.
Yeah,
amazing camera.
Yeah, I don't think there's not a lot of cameras that would be a problem as a backup, but my head was just like looking at different stuff, and then I'm like, I don't want to spend $1,000 on just a backup camera or whatever, because it'll just mostly sit there as a backup unless the autofocus is better than the R6 or something. Then maybe I use it around the house, or I don't really know. But as I'm looking through things, I was like, you know what, sod it. I'll just save up and get one of these R1s that have just came out. I don't need that, but wouldn't it be cool to just have the best of the best and be like,
okay, so that would be a reasoning for an R1 rather than an R3?
Well, I hadn't even got to thinking about an R3 yet.
Oh, word. I
was just like, I went from maybe I'll get an RP or an
RP to an R1
to sod it, I'll just get
6
the R1.
6 times the price.
Because I have been like enjoying doing some motorsport stuff. Like I go to the local track for fun and do stuff like that, and the R6 is more than enough for what I'm doing there.
Legitimately.
And I was like, you know what? If I was to ever pivot a career towards motorsport photography, it'd be nice to just have one of the flagships there. And I was like, that's the dumbest thing, because I don't need an R1. I have no need for it. And I was like, maybe a used R3 would actually work. And I looked at the price of them, and you can find them for $3,000, 3,200-ish maybe.
Wait, which one you can find for $3,000?
The R3.
The R3. Holy cow!
Like a relatively decently used R3 by someone who's like made some cosmetic scratches to it, or you can get a really nice one from Japan.
Yeah.
Which is a funny eBay thing where there's these like Japanese camera companies selling to the US market, because I don't think there's import fees. At least not just now. And yeah,
that's crazy.
You get R3s for like 3,100.
That's
I saw
crazy.
one for 29.97 or something like that, basically $3,000. So around that, obviously you're gonna have tax on top of that, which is gonna add a couple $100 probably.
But then you're cheaper than a R5 Mark II.
Yeah.
Which even
and obviously it's used a bit, but a lot of the time the R3 was shot on an electronic shutter. So you're seeing these R3s with people being like 6,000 shot shutter count.
Yeah, because it's so it's still got its full life ahead of it.
Yeah, and it shows their electronic shutter count. It was like 500,000.
Yeah, right. You imagine buying a car where you're like, it only has 6,000 miles on it. It's like, I drove 80,000 on an electronic shutter, but 6,000 in practice. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's unreal, man.
Yeah. So I'd started to
wait. So are you gonna get an R3?
I might get one this year. I'll see if they release an R3 Mark II, or there starts to be rumors that one's coming.
Yeah.
I'll wait till that's out and I'll buy a used R3 because the price will drop more.
I think my pivot my third camera is gonna be a ZF. The Nikon ZF, because it's like I'm looking at your camera bodies that you have all over here, and your street photography stuff and the stuff you just have for fun and the experience of it. I'm like, that's what the ZF is kind of that.
The ZF would be great for like keep that around your house as well, photograph your kids with it.
Exactly.
Which I need to talk you into doing more of. If you don't, you're telling me you don't really do
that.
Well,
I see like, Jason Vincent and like Two Man Studios, and they have photos of their kids, like either out with the places they go or around the house, and, doing the suburban life, like swings in the backyard or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's freaking sick.
Yeah.
That's absolutely sick. And so maybe, that's a good idea. I'll probably do that.
You think about your 60-year-old self.
Yeah.
And that's why it's worth doing.
Yeah.
Is to just carry it, even if it's just a point and shoot. ZF is probably perfect because it's small and light.
Yeah. And it's got the proprietary 40 mil.
You get a little 40 mil on it, which is lovely. But in your house, you're probably going to want 24, 28.
24, yeah.
Something wide, because like the 40 will feel really tight and you're like in close proximity.
Then I'm going to get to learn all the Nikon lenses again.
You have to buy a 14 for your ZF as well.
Really? For the...
Just so you can have your super wide.
So because if it.
But then that's the rabbit hole that you end up going down.
Yeah, you buy.
Is like I have done all that stuff. Now I just kind of leave an R6 lying around the house.
Yeah.
And I tend to photograph them with that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, ZF is perfect as well. Especially if you go if you're going to walk somewhere with them, you don't want to bring an R6 because they're kind of bigger.
My problem is, as soon as I get to ZF money, I buy a guitar. It's like extra money. It's like, okay, yeah. It's a buy. No, I think I can prioritize that and then get ZF.
Yeah.
That's such a sexy camera.
Just having a third backup camera, and one that, let's say just now if one of the R6s went down and then I started using the Leica Q, I would immediately be going home and being like, I need another R6 right now.
Yeah, no, legit.
So I would rather have
or
an R or whatever. Like I want a third camera that can keep up with the R6. And if one of the R6s goes down, I'm not worried about my wedding the next day or the next week. I can just still have the two cameras and just order another one or get that one fixed.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And then it's less of a second thought. And then the R3 would just be overkill, but sometimes I just want to play with the big boy toy.
Oh, look, a big boy toy. Inappropriate joke insert here.
For sure.
No, that's That's fun and fair. I might just throw caution to the wind and get an R6 Mark II at some point, but it's like,
It's going to depend what that
I
looks like. I don't see how they're not going to make it too close to the R3. They're going to have to differentiate from an R1 somehow, because the R1's like an improvement over the R3.
what camera did I say?
R3 Mark II.
Oh, I meant R6 Mark II.
Oh, you might have said R6 Mark II. I might have just heard R3 Mark II in my head. I think I just heard the wrong thing.
Yeah, no, R6 Mark II, because I was hesitant about it because I had another friend buy one and I couldn't get it to do the same autofocus things my Mark I could.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this seems completely pointless to me. Like, the whole point of my R6 is the way this autofocus works, with the center autofocus point being selectable, and then it just tracks whatever I selected, and I need somebody to tell me. How can the R6 Mark II do the same autofocus as having a center selectable autofocus point that then ends up face tracking or tracking whatever it is that you selected with that center point? That's what I need to figure out, because if the R6 Mark II can do that, then I'm like, yes,
I wish you had one so that I could just fiddle through the menu system and try and set up
which
the same
I
as mine.
kind of did, and I clearly haven't done it long enough, but I need to do that, but it's maybe I'll call my friend and be like, yo, I'll switch cameras with you for a minute, but yeah, no, I would love for it to be able to, because then I'll just get dual R6s selling or dual R6 Mark IIs, sell one of the R6s, and then I'll have a backup R6 again, which is usually what I've ended up doing every time I upgrade my bodies. Yeah. It's like I did that with, Mark II to a 5D Mark II to a 5D Mark IV, Mark IV to R to R6, but, or I can just get two Nikon ZFs, and then shoot a wedding on Nikon, and then go that route and try and be vibey.
It's a shift in workflow. Probably a shift in like presets and.
Well, I'm curious about that, because when I've edited Sony and Nikon files, I've almost been like had more of a good time than even editing my Canon files. Which this can bring us to this conversation, because I realize AI editing does a very good job color matching on different camera sensors. Mm-hmm. And so like when I throw it multiple cameras, like, okay, so I hired this second shooter and they had a different camera body, and okay, how am I going to do the match color? And it's like, and I'm looking at what I get back from AI, and it's like, nah, it looks good. I'm golden. Yeah. It's like literally slightly warm, which is how I kind of choose to do everything, but, it's, so you're using Aftershoot. Yep. To do all of your editing.
Yeah. Culling on editing. Okay. I say culling on editing. I still touch every single image.
I touch most of the images still, give or take. But I realize when I review in grid view, like when I'm looking at them in grid view, I'm like, because they're farther away, I'm like, no, that's fabulous. Yeah. And it's like, and I realize when I make something big, no matter what the photo is, I will always tweak something that's big. Mm-hmm. But when I make it small, and I think I actually notably get more, maybe it's just because I notice it because I'm looking for it, but I feel like I get more compliments when I don't touch most of the photos after an AI pass, particularly for weddings. I'm just like, I'm experimenting a lot at weddings, and so I have to really touch and kind of do but with family sessions, I shoot in such a way where the AI pass looks so phenomenally good. And I've experimented with a couple people. Like usually I'll touch maybe 10% of stuff. Yeah, we can move to where you're not in the sun.
I was like slowly moving further that way. Yeah. So I'm gonna move this way for a while until it
goes away.
Move further.
Do you want to do a curtain?
That's all right.
I can pause it.
It's all right.
Okay. Well,
because if it's gonna take me too long to devise something to put up there.
Well, I feel like I get more compliments on sessions I don't touch after I've sent them through Imagine AI is the one that I use, which I tried Aftershoot because you said it was getting pretty dang good, and
it was perfect first time for me.
Oh, dude, I wish it did that because it's so much cheaper.
Yeah, that's why I was like, well, I need to try this, and I was skeptical because I tried Impossible Things and I thought it was complete trash.
Yeah, I have no experience with Impossible Things,
and then I wouldn't recommend even trying
looking into it.
Yeah.
It was just,
but it might work perfectly for your images. That's the problem.
Is you kind of have to find which tool works.
Yeah. Because I know Two Man use Impossible Things. That's why I was like, oh well, it seems to work great for them, so I'll give it a try. And then I signed up for it, and they had like a founders thing, so it was a little bit cheaper. I still spent like $200 on it, and there was like absolutely no refund kind of policy.
Oh, no way.
But after the first couple of times I tried to use it, I was like,
Absolutely.
there's a chainsaw outside.
Yeah. So, I think it's too quiet to be picked up on microphones, but
Hopefully. It took me further away from, it didn't get me closer to what the final edit might be, so I had to tweak a few things. It like took me further from what I would have liked my starting point to be. I'd rather have edited everything from the raw file than spent the time tweaking what the Impossible Things edit looked like. So I abandoned that one, lost a little respect for
develop.
Yeah,
Jeff,
because I know he has a whole company and stuff, but like I lost a bit of respect for like the no refund thing. I was like, do you not really stand by this?
Because we have to try it
as much,
right?
Yeah, I'm sure there wasn't even a free trial. I forget. I might be butchering this.
I will say, Imogen,
I apologize if there was. I think they do have now
a refund policy,
a refund policy, or a free trial at least.
Okay.
Imagine was great from the jump.
Yeah.
I actually just ended up using like Susan Striplin's preset or something, or one of the, it was like Love and Light or something like that.
Okay.
Because it was pretty close to
her
what my,
I'm sorry, not preset, her profile.
Yeah. It was pretty close to what I would have done anyways, which was like relatively minimal color changes throughout it, and then just like, some tonal adjustments and white balance and stuff. So it got me quite close, but I found myself adding a stronger tone curve, and just more contrast basically.
Yeah.
So there was some stuff I would adjust. So what I ended up with was a workflow where I did Imagen AI and then like a slight adjustment preset in Lightroom that I just applied to everything, and it pretty much got exactly what I was looking for. And then I would still go through and touch all the images though, and just be like, maybe it's too contrasty, and just like get it exactly how I want. But I think that whole AI thing, some people are like, oh, it's saving me time, and like I don't have to do as much stuff with it. What I found is that it opened me up to more time looking for like the minutia of removing an exit sign. I'll take exit signs off. I'll take like lights, like outlets, fire, the red fire exit sign, not exit sign, the red fire, the handle thing that you pull. Yeah, just like distractions.
Yeah, fire
so
alarm.
In some important pictures, I'll spend more time with that. I'll spend more time perfecting some elements of the pictures, and I think that has sort of allowed me to elevate the product that I end up delivering people.
Bro, I wish that Aftershoot, because I use Aftershoot for calling.
Yeah.
Like I pass everything through Aftershoot before it goes through Imogen, and it's like it's amazing for calling, especially since I do it the way Sam Hurd does it, and I just said Sam Hurd again, so I have to put $1 in the flipping Sam Hurd jar.
That was from the last episode.
From the last episode. So if anybody doesn't know, we every time I mention Sam Hurd, because Liam's not going to do it because he's not as an obsessive simp for Sam as I am. But I have to put, so we have $2 in the jar because I held back 2 more times. So instead of $4, we have $2 in there because I have self-control. So that's the freaking thing. But yeah, I do Aftershoot the way he does because I have Aftershoot apply all their color profiles, like the color, assigning colors to different files, images. And then I open it up in Lightroom, and then I can sort by color. And so then using that, then I'll call everything, and then I'll send it to Imogen, and Imogen's so right on, which is ridiculous. But I would love to do it all in Aftershoot. But everything came back,
blue.
Yeah, blue. Yeah,
it was not even just like a little blue.
No, it was like
hella
blue.
All like the slider all the way to the left.
And I'm like, I trained it on like 26,000 photos.
Yeah, maybe it was too many.
That's the other thing I'm realizing about AI. It's like 5,000 seems to be the sweet spot.
Yeah,
give or take. So it's like, and because that's what my profile, and when I was adding or training a profile, I noticed that I would get to a certain threshold of like, I'm So, okay, you gave me this. I'm going to retouch all these and then upload it back so that you relearn and retrain my algorithm. It would deviate from what I wanted. And so I'm like, no, once I found it, like I am never retraining this thing.
Yeah.
I love this thing. And maybe I just found my tool. You know, it still costs for me 6 cents an image because I do the AI straightening. And AI straightening saves me so much time in cropping.
Yeah.
Because majority of my cropping is straightening stuff. And it's like, and since it's already straightened, then I just go into grid view, scroll through everything, and it's like, holy crap, these photos look amazing. And then maybe it's like, oh, nope, that needs a little color tweak.
Yeah.
And nope, good. Nope, light it up a little bit. And then, you know, before you know it, I clocked myself because I edited my friend's a wedding that a friend of mine shot. You know, Michelle, photographer in North Carolina. She's amazing. And it was a small backyard wedding, so it was like 3,000 photos to start with. And so I literally decided to time myself. And it is harder when it's somebody else's wedding because the way they shoot and then they'll edit to how they shoot. And so you kind of have to, I shoot in such a way to where my editing is even more streamlined. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to remove that sign later. So I'm just going to move so I don't have to remove that sign. You know? Or certain things to make my editing faster. So I was doing it with hers and I clocked it. And I think my editing was like my calling was at like 20 minutes and my editing was at 30 something. I was about 55 minutes from the time I called, edited, selected black and whites, created virtual copies to create black and whites, edited those black and whites and hit export.
Wow.
I was 55 minutes from start to finish on editing that wedding.
Nice. And
I was like, and I'll show you the gallery. And it's just like, I'm like, bro, this is the best system I could ever have, you know, for that particular situation. And you know, I find also when I'm timing myself, I do everything faster, you know?
Fair. Yeah.
But that's something that's hard to replicate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I don't know if, it's just the way my brain works or not, but like I cannot, I don't think I could, even if it did it perfectly, I don't think I could let go of the control that much yet, at least.
Yeah.
And I just like, I have to kind of scroll through and but one of the things that I like about Aftershoot is that I can edit before the second cull. So like Aftershoot will cull 5,000 down to 1,500. And then I can just go straight into click edit and it'll edit that 1,500 that it called and it doesn't cost me more money. So then when I get all that in Lightroom, I can be flipping through the edited pictures and I don't have to think which is the better picture in the darker unedited looking scene. So I enjoy that sort of like second process. And I spend a lot of time now, if I get 1,500 to 1,000, and it was an 8-hour wedding day, I'll spend a bit more time trying to get it closer to 800 pictures. And if I can't, that's fine. I've plenty of times delivered 1,000 pictures on an 8-hour day, but there's definitely a quality over, a quality over quantity aspect of it, where like 800 pictures is plenty for an 8-hour wedding day.
Yes.
Unless there's a ton of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So like, you know, fewer better pictures of single moments instead of more okay pictures or acceptable pictures of single moments, you know? I'd rather have 2 or 3 good pictures of a moment than 5 or 6 decent pictures.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Because usually there's a best one or a best 2.
And then the other ones that aren't as good will dilute the response to the really good one.
So I've spent, exactly. So I've spent more time trying to trim down the stuff, not to be stingy, not to be...
No, but to maximize the impact of the valuable images.
Yeah. And I think I would certainly, you know, clients might not always understand that, because I think certainly as a client myself in the past, I would probably be more like, well, why do you only deliver 600 pictures when this person says they don't cap their delivery at all?
Yeah, I don't cap my delivery anymore.
Like, it's almost worth having a gallery with 3,000 pictures in it
Yeah.
and a gallery, the same gallery copied with your cull of 800 to 600
Right.
pictures, and just be like, here's both. People don't ask that. They don't ask
No.
that question. But like, to prove it to yourself, which one's like, when I look through some of my galleries where I've delivered over 1,000 pictures, it's a chore.
Yeah,
look
it's a lot
through.
of photos. It's
So it's almost like you're gonna get a better experience overall with that culled gallery. I went on a tangent here because we were talking about AI culling and editing,
no, but
and
this
I
is
went back
I
to
think this
manual
is super
stuff.
relevant.
But yeah, start with the AI cull, then I manually cull more, and after the edit's applied, and then I might like select a different one and reapply the edit to a different picture if it selects a bad version. Oh my god, my dog has got something wrong. He ate something on our walk this morning.
Oh, Turbo had a bad
But he's always got bad farts. But
digestive
they're
tract
sort of
situation.
constant just now. I think it's a pit bull thing.
Yeah.
They have bad,
It's
like,
probably the fourth
guts.
or fifth time he's farted so far.
at least.
Yeah, and we've been
At
ignoring
least.
it while talking for part
I
of
think
it.
some of them have been the same fart blended into another fart. So it's just lingered for a longer time.
Oh, buddy. That's so sad.
It's all right.
Rumbly tumbly.
Yeah, and then the next, and then editing is, I kind of, I wish I could just like quickly boost through an edit like that, but I can't. I cannot hold my concentration that long. Like I have to put on like certain music, certain like that binaural beat sounds to just try and keep myself locked into the laptop for that amount of time.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. Well, that's part of the reason it is so interesting, and it's almost kind of scary and like vulnerable to share this aspect of like how we decide to process these things. Because then I'm thinking like, well, if clients hear this and they prefer this other way, and they're like, well, I would really want you to have more. I would really want to have, this way or whatever. It's like, well, it's here's 1,200 photos, and because it's
actually, and that's something like if someone came back to me and was like, I feel like 800 is not enough. I just be like, okay, here's a copy of that gallery, and here's more pictures of all the same moments. Because there's no extra skin off my nose to give them that. Well, it might be, I guess, if you start getting credited for stuff.
Then you start this conversation of like, wait, you got this photo, you got this photo. I'm like, well, why didn't you include this photo? I'm like, well, because it's a duplicate of this one. And that one, they're picking their nose or like, whatever. And they're like, oh, but I want that. And it's like, okay, now we're getting into like.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't go down that rabbit hole. And people don't ask for this kind of stuff, but it's just my thought process is usually the better culled wedding is the better product in the end. So if AI gets you closer to that, and then you can like fix it yourself, finish it off yourself and make sure there's a human touch in there, so that it doesn't like. Cause sometimes AI will pick out randomly a blurry picture, even when it says it's in focus, or a in focus picture will say blurry because it thinks your subject was something else or something.
Or if you use a tilt shift lens and then it thinks those are all blurry and not usable, it's like no, I was doing that on purpose, buddy. It's like. I can tell you're doing it on purpose because you have so many of that one section or that one look. Yeah. And then it'll choose the ones you don't want. But that's the beauty of that process is you can just turn off the color filters. Yeah. And then, pick the ones that, different colored, which I really love. Yeah. Well, at 30 minutes into this one, you want to continue our love-hate list?
That was 30 minutes already.
Yeah. We're 30 minutes into
I think we should continue the love-hate list in another episode.
Okay, we can do that.
I feel like
for sure we can do
because those are like that could be like fun like individual episodes.
Well, one, there's a tremendous amount of things to talk about in the wedding photography world.
Oh yeah.
And two, generally, as wedding photographers, we don't get to talk to other photographers.
That's fair. About
certain nuances and all the things that we do, and it's like
unless you spend a lot of time in like forums,
right,
or like Facebook groups. There's tons of photographers, but that is a time suck and a mental like drain. Yeah. To look at other people yelling on the internet.
I hate I went through my teenage internet argumentative phases where it's like, this is the right way because yeah. And it's like, but I think after a certain, I have legitimately typed massive responses to things and just deleted them. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, why would I even do this? And such a waste of time, except for that one guy on that one podcast who says the Canon R6 color sucks ass. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Was that the guy on the Vendor Table podcast?
The Vendor Table podcast. I'm calling you out, bro. It's like, I want you to bring some evidence to your claim that the R6 colors suck ass. I'm quoting you. That's why I'm saying ass so much. But friggin' A, dude. The colors are amazing.
They
Ridiculously.
seem fine to me.
Yeah. Some of my work has never been more vibrant. And my company's literally called The Vibrant. Bro. Anyways. No. I'll have a fisticuffs with you.
Each to their own.
Yeah, no, whatever. And don't use it. Get a different camera. No, it's no, that was the thing.
Yeah, I don't know what camera they used, but
Well, I know he was. Well, I guess because he said the R6 color sucked ass. It's like he loves doing it, and I went and looked at his work, and I'm like, his work's beautiful. Like I don't think it's particularly known for its color, necessarily. Like I'm like literally like, I guess true life colors, but everything colors boosted.
yeah,
So in terms of like tones, I'm not pushing a tan or a green or a magenta kind of direction. I'm trying to get as true to life as I can. Skin tones are king, and then boost all those colors, make them vibrant. So in my mind, the R6 is like akin to me to the 1DX Mark III. When I shot with that, I thought it was similar to that, and the 1DX Mark.
I think
III.
it's the same sensor.
That's what I thought too.
They both had 20.1. They were released It was released shortly after.
That's what I thought.
The 1DX Mark
and
III.
I didn't know for certain, but I'd heard that through several grapevines.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
so-
I could easily be wrong, but why would they make two different 20.1 megapixel sensors?
You're saying I could be wrong. Like, this is literally what I've been saying. Like, if it's the same sensor as the 1DX Mark III, then bro, you're full of shit. Like, but, excuse the profanity.
Well, maybe you
but-
didn't like the 1DX Mark III either.
Oh, that would be fair. In which case, it's like it was a more quintessential Mark II color.
Yeah.
5D Mark II. In the 5D Mark II, like you're gonna tell me that had bad color? Like, bro, then I don't trust anything you say. No, I mean, I'm starting fighting words. What I'm trying to do. It's like, but whatever, man. It's. I did want to ask you about your raid setup over here.
All right, that's what this episode was gonna be.
Yeah,
and then we
really?
moved on to backup cameras, and that took us 30 minutes.
I am the
Because we
king of
moved
the
through
rabbit trails.
backup cameras and then AI, I guess.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so the reason I'm excited is because I just ordered a 6-bay RAID enclosure.
Mhm.
And I've been saying I was going to do this for like 10 years. And it's like, and I've been working on drives that have like used carbon copy cloner to redundify themselves. And then I have all my storage is double drives and the backups. I probably have 30 to 40, 2 or 4 terabyte respective hard drives. And then I have like a 12 terabyte, and 8 terabyte. Like, I'm freaking done. I'm going to do one 72 terabyte for now. And then I'm going to stick 20 terabyte drives in all of those eventually.
Yeah.
And then call it what's 6 times, so do the numbers, 120 terabyte, and then put it in a RAID. I'm going to learn about all this RAID 4, RAID 5 configuration to where I have the redundancy with those 6 bays so I could lose 2, give or take. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then that should be plenty enough for me for like 3 years, probably, I would say. And at which point I'm going to get another one and daisy chain it and then do, and then have all of that go into the, Backblaze or something.
Backblaze was the next step that I was thinking about.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, so why haven't you taken that one yet?
Just hadn't. Just
Even though it's like $60 a year?
haven't sat down and spent the time to like set it up.
Dude, I'm pretty sure it's sign up, pick the drive, and then let it back up.
Yeah, I'm sure it is that.
And it's $60.
But everything I do that I don't know how to do already takes me 6 weeks.
That's fair.
Because I know we talked about potentially having ADHD brain, but now that I know that I might have it because my wife diagnosed me with it, basically, I hadn't heard the word until I was in my 20s.
I have a whole beef with ADHD.
I know, but like knowing what it is potentially, has allowed me to like hack my own brain.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm hacking my brain all the time.
Because
That's nonstop.
Because I like literally was like a useless human being most of the time. Running on impulse, distracted by things, could only do the thing that I cared about.
That's what I utilized to hack this whole thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you also have to be able to function as a human.
Well, yeah, I have
know,
kids.
and-
I have to but my kids have value, and so they'd be good. They go high up on the priority list.
Yeah.
You know.
So like, yeah, just being aware of it has allowed me to like listen to podcasts and tap resources and understand a bit more how to exist in the world
Yeah.
without the like and get around the issues that my brain causes me.
Mm.
And one of those things is forming complete bloody sentences in a cohesive and coherent manner. And that's something that I struggle to do on this podcast.
That's
And
funny.
struggle to do just like making YouTube videos. So if anybody watches my YouTube videos, it's full of cuts
Yeah.
because I'll lose my train of thought. I need
Yeah.
to read something to make sure what I was going to say and then come back and try and get it out in a single paragraph. In almost every video I've ever made, after the fact, I'm like, crap, I missed.
Oh, I agree with
point
that.
there.
1,000%. I get so frustrated. 'Cause I'm
What
like,
the
I don't
heck
wanna
were we
shoot
just talking about? I got into RAID drives from ADHD from RAID drives.
No, now I want to
So-
stay on this ADHD thing because I am everything you just described. I completely understand.
I don't think we should talk about it until at least one of us is actually diagnosed properly.
Okay, well, we don't have to talk about ADHD so much as we can talk about the patterns of our own motivations. And so you just described, like, okay, so I had my psychologist tell me, he's like, I can't officially say it until I actually run the test and you take the test and I diagnose you, but I am 98% sure you have ADHD. And I was so excited and I felt validated. And then I went about my day, like feeling like, wow, like there was something freeing and empowering about having received this opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a pretty spiritual experience, like have to pull your car on the side of the road thing where I was like, where I suddenly was like, oh, I can't claim my ADHD anymore. I need to shut that down. And then, so I stopped claiming that. And then I started looking at like, okay, why does the lens of the medical industry, like, one, produce the label? So what is it labeling? Because it's like, I have a complicated relationship with the medical industry after having 2 births and a variety of other situations. It's like, it is like, I am immensely thankful for it because my family's alive because of it, but also put us through so much unspeakable stuff, you know? So it's like, it's a mixed bag of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like the way, you know, traditional Western medicine wants to categorize and have their lens through which they view the world, I don't think is a complete view. And I don't know where the lines are, which is why I can't say, no, it's wrong for this reason. I'm just like, nah, I'm skeptical because it's like, you know, and my first question to like my psychologist at the time was like, okay, so tell me, and he was telling me about ADHD and all the people who are characterized, and some of these people like are the most productive individuals the world has ever seen. And I'm like, so it sounds like this is a superpower.
You seem incredibly productive.
Me?
Yeah.
That's an illusion. And my buddy, who I also had this conversation with, and we had to stop it because over text message, when I'm talking about my beef with ADHD, it can sound like a breakup text because I'm like, no, I hate it. It's this whole thing. But and so we decided to wait till we're like actually sitting around a campfire and having like a bro talk, you know. But I do seem incredibly productive.
You've done 3 shoots today before we started doing
Yes.
this podcast, and this is the 2nd episode we've done today.
I have systemized everything out the ass.
But that's what productivity ends up being.
Yeah, right. But productivity,
And you have
I don't
employees.
have to produce. Yes, I have employees. And bro, just come with me to watch how like the fact that you talk and you're having a hard time. And then I'm like, I have a thought because you said something and I want to jump in there. But if I cut you off, then you will have the thought. And so it's like my coping with this thing has resulted in me being hyper whatever, you know. I think that's literally where the H comes into the whole thing, because otherwise I'll miss the thing, and then the alternative then for me is just sitting there with nothing to say.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can tell this about me, but I can't live with nothing to say. You know? So it's like, and then I come off as narcissistic, and then I'm like, am I narcissistic? I don't know. And it's like all this stuff.
I think the fact that you ask yourself if you're narcissistic means you're not narcissistic, because narcissists can't consider the fact that they might be.
Is that true? Because if it's true, I
think
would love
so.
that.
I think so.
And I would feel great, way more comfortable about that.
I mean, everybody might have narcissistic tendencies, but
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that I heard a psychologist say one time. I could be wrong. Who knows? It's
Well-
stuff I heard on the internet. So
Well, then my question is, what's the difference between a narcissistic tendency and actually having self-confidence? You know, maybe I'm just very confident about like, yeah, I'm a dang good photographer. It's like, and I'm not going to say that. I'm going to let somebody like my clients like look at it and then kind of decide that for themselves or whatever. And it's like, cause otherwise like, and I realize that's the whole thing in selling yourself. And I hate selling,
sure.
you know,
You can sell without selling, though.
right.
And
Which is what I try
sometimes,
to do.
and sometimes that's just, you know, giving people useful information to them.
Yeah.
And showing the work that matters. Showing the work that matters to you in your portfolio, and then I think that's what ends up selling
100%.
the thing. You know, I don't want to be like, so hey, if you guys decide to buy now, we'll do that. You know, selling the sort of like stereotypical pushy salesman type thing that you might feel on a used car lot or something like that.
Oh God, that feeling.
That's like not like the selling that works well in the wedding industry. I feel like the selling that works well is, you know, just like putting information out,
Yeah.
telling people what you do, how you work. This is why this is important. You know, I always try and give people some tactics to shorten their family photo time.
Right. Yeah.
Like
yeah,
stuff that I've learned over the years, and like, here's how to approach it. Here's who to talk to, and do, you know, and I've found that people end up booking because I gave them good information. I projected my own knowledge of the thing onto, you know, told them what I knew about it, and I made it easy as possible for them to decide to pay.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so like, this is the thing. Click this link. That's the package. This is the contract. Click to sign. Click to deposit, and you can set up an automatic final payment reminder or whatever.
Everything you just said, we need to trim and be like, we're going to sell you a $300 course on how to be a productive wedding photographer.
But I am still not productive. Every single day of my life,
Define productivity.
getting shit done.
Okay. Define the specific shit that needs to get done.
Business.
Okay, word.
No, so just like, you know,
Let me
like
show you my
feeling-
PlayStation log for how much time I've been spending playing video games in the past 4 weeks.
all the time you spend playing video games,
Uh-huh.
I spend in like inertia of like, so if I have ADHD,
Mhm.
it's not, I don't have an H. I just
Word.
have the deficit
Word.
I just have the attention deficit.
If I
think.
have ADHD, massive. I mean, I would say the problem with this is I'm sure I do have ADHD according to someone, whoever agrees with the worldview of the guy who made up the ADHD term to begin with. So, so yes, I probably have that by the metric of the people who want to categorize the world in that way.
Yeah.
Sure. I very much would have the H in that situation.
There's a kind of well-known doctor. I think he's a doctor called Gabor Mate.
Mm-hmm.
Gabor Mate. I don't know how to say his name right. I think he might be Canadian. But he
Oh yeah, eh?
he does I heard him, oh, Jesus. I recently heard him on a podcast talking about how he has sort of came to the conclusion that ADHD isn't like a genetic thing that has been passed on. So just like a certain amount of people just have it, and it's not really a disorder, but it's like a change in genetics that people have because of like certain environments that we went through our evolution. So there's like certain people would be better at hunting, certain people would be better at building, certain people would be better at preaching, like whatever things. And there was like an element of ADHD that was useful maybe for hunting because you could focus for days. You know, you were into that thing and you could do that better than anybody else and do it for longer.
That.
Or, you know, that sort of thing. And that's where the the sort of people think that maybe the genetic component comes from that, but Gabor Mate said that it's not that people just have it because it's genetic, but they may be genetically predisposed to developing it like any other disorder. And he says most of the time when people have the symptoms of ADHD, it's because of some sort of like coping mechanism of something that they had to grow up with and the environment they were in. So if you were in, some sort of not traumatic, but some sort of like problem environment where this coping mechanism then became, I think, was it a coping mechanism? I'm going to butcher something here and get it all wrong. But
no, that's good.
He was basically just saying like there's sometimes people are more predisposed to having it, and things in your life are more likely to end up bringing those characteristics out or something like that.
Yeah, well, we don't
I'll
even
have to find
use
this podcast.
We don't even have to use the word coping mechanism. We could say, yeah, I got trained that impressing people and people pleasing yielded positive results in my life. So I figured out how to get really good at those things, at some point or another. And that generally helps with selling, not selling, and I think that's literally why I chose photography over video, because I show them the back of the camera. They go, "Oh my God." Yeah. And I'm like, bro, I literally would get life, from that thing. And I would share that. And then one of the first reviews on my website is, to quote him directly, was, "Holy shit, I'm crying." It's like, because, there's this one situation with this one photo, and it was a double exposure, and it was like with the satellite dish that I lit up blue, and it was inside of the center of a out of focus chandelier that I shot from the bottom.
Nice.
And so then I pulled that back from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, and then I got them a silhouette of them in the middle of the thing, and then they got to see the back of the camera that was on the 5D Mark IV, and he said, "Holy shit!" And like that one. I'm like, that was the freaking thing that drove me in wedding photography. And it's like, and as I said in our 2 podcasts ago, it's like, now it's the emotion and it's about the people. When I started, I'll be full disclosure, wedding photography was about me and what I could do to make an image. I learned that I'm not that important, and it's still fun and people hire me for the cool stuff that I can make, but for me, it's more about them now, which I'm happy to say now. It's, I guess not exactly a great selling point.
I think that there was something that Victor Lax said. Was it Victor Lax or Ferhoristi?
Oh, both of those guys are amazing.
I want to say it was Victor Lax, but like, he said that he serves his couples better by photographing selfishly. So when you look through Victor Lax and Erica Burns, and I'm not going to separate them, she is just as good as he is, and see their work, there's nothing standard about most of it. And then I'm sure they get like the standard shots of like group shots, and they still get the kiss shot. You just completely contradicted
my thought, and I think you also are changing my life right
I don't
now
mean to contradict
No, this
entirely,
is like a beautiful thing.
But like, I can see why it makes perfect sense to say it's not about me, it is about them.
Yeah. Because
I'm serving them, but the way that you shoot,
about me.
You create work that serves you and them at the same time.
Yeah,
it serves them by it serving you, because they didn't hire. You could hire your Uncle Bob to take pictures, and you'll get standard.
No, you're changing my worldview on this wedding photography.
But by photographing
back to what it was,
the selfish stuff, the things that you want to do, in the best way you can, you make more unique, better work, and you give your client something more special at the end of that.
No, that's dang fair. That's more than fair. That's like, no, I'm doing a 180 and I'm reverting to my it's about me. Your wedding's about me. No, it's like
so you almost you can totally flip it, because by photographing selfishly, it becomes about them.
100%.
Because you serve them better, because you were selfish. So because you serve them.
No, you just blew my mind. No, 100%. I fully agree. That's I'm changing my stance right now on that. And which we're going to do what day is it? It's the 10th. We're shooting a wedding together here in 15 days.
Friday the 11th.
Today is Friday the 10th.
Oh, my watch says the 11th. I wonder.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No way.
It's probably like skipped a leap year or something. It's just always. I've never checked the date
Oh
on my
no
watch.
way! That's
You're right.
hilarious. Your watch can do that. Skip leap years?
No, like it's probably just I don't know. It. Who knows? But how? Maybe my watch is on a different year. I've no idea.
Yeah. So we're gonna get to shoot together here in 15 days for the first time.
That's
I'm really
right.
excited about that.
That'd be cool. Is
Apparently.
Hudson doing that for video?
No. Well, I think his associate might be
Okay.
either that or I don't know what ended up happening. No, I think he did get somebody for that.
Nice.
He had somebody for something. But yeah, we've been collecting. I've been trying to identify videographers. Sorry, here locally to figure out. I realize what time of day is it? The sun always goes down a little bit and our camera angle gets darker.
4:05 now.
Yeah,
We should probably wrap up soon.
we
so I
should.
can
We're at 50 minutes now.
Jeez.
Yeah, that just
Yeah,
goes by
so
so
I can
fast.
make sure I've tidied up somewhat before the wife and kid come home.
So what do we talk about in this podcast? We talked about ADHD, or the lack thereof, and we didn't even really get into the raid stuff.
Yeah, we can say that for another one, I guess.
Nah, man, freaking A. Do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Sure. Yeah. You can find me Instagram, liamgordon.photo, street photography, Instagram, the Liam Gordon, YouTube, the Liam Gordon, and website, liamgordon.photography.
Man, I need my social media handles to be that much easier to understand.
I just have too many of them, so I was like, I'll cut out the motorsport one
It's
this
so
time.
much simpler that way. Which I want to see some of your motorsport work, but yeah, my wedding website is thevibrantcolorado.com. My real estate website is vibrantmediaco.com, and then my Instagram is thevibrant_co. So yeah, that's my stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Fun
All right.
stuff.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Fuck off.